So, 2025 was a very good year for Transformers Studio Series, which is annoying because it makes ranking them way harder than it needs to be, as when even the figures at the bottom of the list aren't bad, you're no longer ranking quality, you're just ranking pure vibes. And so today, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 Studio Series figures that were released in 2025 purely based on how much I enjoyed owning them. That means that this list is completely subjective, mildly biased, and almost guaranteed to upset at least one collector out there. And so, let's not waste any more time here and get straight into this ranking by starting with my honourable mentions. These are Leader Class Ape-Link, Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Elite 1, and finally Leader Class 86 Galvatron. Each of these figures are a ton of fun to mess around with and get into some really cool looking poses. However, the only reason they didn't make the top 10 is simply because I just prefer the look and playability of the next 10 figures. And so with that, our number 10 spot on this list is going to go to Deluxe Class Gamer Edition Devastation Optimus Prime. Wow, that is a mouthful. I honestly never thought that any of the Devastation designs would show up in the Gamer Edition, but I am so very thankful that they did. The cel-shaded paintwork looks incredible, and while the vehicle mode could be better, the robot mode more than makes up for it. He's an absolute joy to pose and play around with, and I cannot wait for more Devastation figures in the future. Now on to number 9, and in this spot we have Deluxe Class Gamer Edition Ironhide. And so yes, this is basically just a straight up repaint of Ratchet. However, at the same time, the dark grey and red colour scheme on this guy just looks so much better than the original colours, and the way they perfectly contrast each other really pushes this already brilliant mould to another level. This is a perfect repaint and a perfect translation of Ironhide's game design in figure form. Coming into the 8th place on our list, we have Deluxe Class Q from Dark of the Moon. This is a figure that I have been desperately waiting for all the way since the original Deluxe was cancelled back in 2012, and thankfully it was definitely worth the wait. He's incredibly accurate to the movie design, he's packed with some great detailing, and I absolutely love his paint job and vehicle mode. Now I will admit that the vehicle mode kibble is quite noticeable in his robot mode, however at the same time it never really detracts from the overall look of the figure in my opinion, and I still think it looks amazing. Next up, and smashing into the number 7 spot, we have all of the Studio Series 86 Constructicons. Each one of these figures looks great and is a ton of fun on their own, however as a group they look absolutely fantastic together. Some are definitely stronger than others in terms of design and playability, however overall this is an excellent and super accurate lineup of figures that each look great in all 3 of their modes. Now onto our number 6 spot, and just missing out on the top 5 we have Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Starscream. And despite the unfortunate yellowing issues on the grey plastic, this is otherwise an outstanding figure. The proportions are spot on, the kibble is minimal, and the overall accuracy in both modes is really impressive. This mold is such a strong base that I really cannot wait to see it be reused for the other Seekers at some point down the line. But moving on now and entering into our top 5 Studio Series figures of 2025, and taking the number 5 spot is Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. And so, while yeah, he doesn't transform into his iconic pistol anymore, with him instead turning into a tank, I do actually prefer the new tank mode. It feels far more fitting for Megatron as it's a much more menacing and bulky alternate mode, and so it's way more suited for the leader of the Decepticons. As for the real highlight here though, we have the amazing looking robot mode, which is incredibly accurate, highly poseable, and a ton of fun to play around with. This figure was definitely worth the wait. Next up, and taking the number 4 spot, we have Leader Class Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. This is a notoriously difficult design to pull off, and despite some visible compromises like the smokestacks and the back kibble, I really do think that Hasbro absolutely nailed it. The robot mode cleans up beautifully, the backpack can actually be removed entirely, and the articulation really does allow for some amazing looking poses. Alongside that, the transformation is nice and complex, and it rewards you with an absolutely fantastic looking vehicle mode. Next up, and taking the third place in this list, we have the combined form of all the Studio Series 86 Constructicons, that being Devastator. This figure, as the first 86 combiner, definitely lives up to the hype and is an absolute monster of a figure. Yes, the back kibble is a bit excessive, and yes, the articulation is a bit limited due to his size and the fact that he is a combined form of multiple individual figures. However, as a display piece, Devastator is undeniably one of the most impressive feats of engineering and is guaranteed to be a standout figure of any collection. And now for the second place spot, and just missing out on the number one spot, we have Voyager class Sentinel Prime from Transformers 1. This figure is practically flawless. He's incredibly accurate in both his modes, he has an excellent range of articulation, a great colour scheme, and absolutely no kibble whatsoever. And on top of all of that, he even has a third mode where multiple pieces of extra armour and weaponry can fold out, and it's just the icing on the cake of an already perfect figure. But however, there is still just one figure that I personally believe is the best Studio Series release of 2025, and this figure is the remake of the Deluxe Class Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. This remake absolutely blows the original release completely out of the water. The proportions are perfect, the head sculpt is so much more accurate, and the door wings can finally fold down properly in order to more closely resemble his on-screen look. The engineering is excellent with minimal kibble and a transformation that's complex enough to be satisfying while still not being frustrating. And so, for me, this is the definitive Studio Series release of 2025, and it sets a very exciting standard for all future remakes. And so with that guys, that was my top 10 Studio Series figures from 2025, and honestly, considering how strong this year was, I am super excited to see what Hasbro has in store for us in 2026. But what were your favourite figures from 2025 and how would you rank them differently to me? Make sure to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video then do feel free to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more Transformers rankings, reviews and discussions in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.